Our next guest is David Welsh. Mr. Welsh is a teacher who created a project that started off with the ancient observatory lesson plan. But through technology, Mr. Welsh and his students took this project to new levels. Hi, Mr. Welsh. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on your show.
Please tell us more about the project and why it was so successful.
The project, as you said, was to make a sundial and use it to take readings. But the version of it that I did, the adaptation, was to integrate a lot of e-learning technology into the lesson plan. And I can just quickly give you a sense of that by showing you the PowerPoint that the students made. So they used digital imaging to capture these images you're seeing. This is my students making the sundial, making sure they get all the measurements right, taking digital images. This is the sun casting its shadow. They did make a very cool animated movie of the sun arcing across the sundial. This, shows me as an instructor that they didn't just make up the readings, but that this is exactly the way the shadow was being cast the day that they did this project. And then they did a really cool thing with Google Earth, which I can tell you more about in a second, to corroborate their findings.
So tell us more about Google Earth.
Google Earth is a free tool which is available just by Googling Google Earth. And the thing that's cool about it is no matter what school a teacher or student happens to be in, certainly if it's in the United States, North America, but usually around the world, they can go to a satellite picture of their school and use Google Earth to corroborate the sundial exactly the way we have here. It's an unbelievable free resource for teachers.
What resources did you use to help you get created on such a fun project?
Well, you've heard me mentioning some software packages. I guess for starters, you do have to have internet connection and you do have to have a working computer. The browser is free. We're using the Firefox internet browser, so that's a free download for teachers and students. Then for software, we are using Photoshop, which is a picture editor by Adobe. Now, one does have to pay for that, but there are free analogous programs like EarthenView is a free download. And then for PowerPoint, that's a Microsoft product, is a part of Microsoft Office Suite, but there's also a free version of that in OpenOffice called Impress. And then the animation might be the trickiest part of the whole thing. That was done with Macromedia Flash, another Adobe product. We found that affordable under school pricing, but that does have to be purchased.
What technology is required?
So I guess besides just the software, I used a couple of websites. And the main one I used, I have this saved as a tab, is the Nortel Learn It website, which I'm going to now. And that's www.nortellearnit.org. Nortel Learn It has got the lesson plans, like the ancient observatories lesson plan that I used. That lesson plan is downloadable as a Microsoft Word document, so that's something I can modify or hand out to my students. You will also, the Nortel Learn It site is enriched with some tremendous hyperlinks. And the other website that I used was a NASA website called NASA Connects. And that website has some tremendous video programs that show students, teach them more about the sun by way of background, and actually show some students doing the actual sundial making project that I had the students do.
What advice would you give to teachers that don't feel comfortable doing a project like this one?
It is a little frightening as a teacher to not only try and teach a lesson plan, but then to use a lot of technology. But the thing I would say is the students are better at it than we are. I wonder if you agree with that statement?
I do. We are learning together.
Yeah. So I think it's uncomfortable for a teacher to have students know more than they do about a subject. But what I found as an instructor is if I can just get the resources in place like computers, the internet, a digital camera, that the students almost act as my teaching assistant in pulling off some of these great assignments. And a second thing I'll tell you about the Nortel Learn It website is they have got some tremendous technology tutorials on there.
It seems like they're guiding you through everything.
Yep. You know what I say is enough information to be dangerous. So if you don't know that much about the internet, you can go to their tutorials on discovering the internet and you will get some of the basics down that you need to know to get jump started as an instructor.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
You know, I just encourage, the internet's obviously the future of teaching and learning, and I think that the time to get started is ASAP. So I just encourage teachers to welcome these technologies and to use websites like Nortel Learn and NASA Connects to get them a quick jump start.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Mr. Welsh.
Thank you.